Stay tuned for Retire Your Way with Dale Soutas, a leading financial retirement strategist and the founder of Soutas Financial and Insurance Solutions, right here in Fresno. Every week, Dale discusses pressing financial topics of the week, ranging from reliable income strategies to our financial markets, including Social Security, tax strategies, wealth management, RMDs, legacy planning, long-term care solutions, and most importantly, how to make sure you have enough guaranteed lifetime income to retire your way with choice and dignity. From taxes to trends to total transparency, Dale covers it all. And now, here is Retire Your Way and Dale Soutas. This is Retire Your Way with Dale Soutas of Soutas Financial right here in California. Today's program, more money mistakes that can cost you. Sometimes the decisions you make, there are certain potholes, there are certain red flags, there are certain blind corners you don't see behind, and that's exactly why Dale does this radio program, does all of his live events, and meets with you, our radio listeners, live in person at the offices of Soutas Financial to make sure that we can help you from making those mistakes on your own. Dale, how are you doing this week?
I am doing just fine, Spike. Have had a busy week. Actually, recently had our monthly workshop at Fresno State.
Oh, great!
Yeah, that was nice. We're changing up the topics from month to month. This time around, we talked about estate planning, which went over real well too.
Yeah. Hot topic lately. Really a hot topic, and everything. It has to do, I think, with living a little bit longer. So I always like to make sure that folks know when we say estate planning, don't change the channel. It's not just about, what we're leaving all the kids and the grandkids later. Estate planning is also about protecting yourself and all that you've built up while you're alive to make sure that things like healthcare costs and inflation don't eat away at your nest egg and you don't have to worry later on in life. And so there's a lot of different decisions. Of course, your wills, your powers of attorney for healthcare and finances, and do you need a trust? All of those specifics do matter. But more so, I think for you, Dale, it's kind of finding out what does somebody need first? What are they looking to do? What are they worried about? And then helping identify what tools they need, right?
Well, exactly. And over the years, we've developed a system to help ones know how to be prepared before they go see an attorney or their own attorney to set up that trust. We guide them. If they don't know how things should be structured, what should we do with this, what we should do with that, we guide them into, number one, who are your beneficiaries? And sometimes, they have different situations, which we might touch on, the blended family type situation. They might have various assets he owns, she owns. There could be a lot of complicated things. So we like to help people simplify, because with us, they can sit down and we could spend an hour or whatever you need to review things and put our heads together. But you don't want to sit down with typically the attorneys, because every minute it goes by, click, 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 the money, the bill's going up. So we help you know how to be prepared. And like I mentioned at our recent workshop, we're not licensed as an attorney. The attorneys aren't licensed in the financial world. So we don't share money. We don't get anything. We don't get a kickback from sending you to any specific attorney or anything like that. I don't care about that. I care that you know how things should be properly set up for yourself. So we have that system down to where we actually have a checklist where we can walk people through so they know exactly how to be prepared. When they contact that attorney, they know what, the attorney's going to need, how to be prepared so they're not spinning their wheels and, costing themselves a lot of money unnecessarily.
Yeah. And costing ourselves by just not knowing and not being informed. And it's a hard thing. If you've never planned for retirement, if you've never done estate planning, you don't know what you don't know. And that's why Dale does this program here. You can reach out and set up a time, as Dale said, tick, 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 of the timer, kind of like driving around in an old-fashioned cab. Every minute that you're in there, it's costing you something. So if you want to talk about estate planning at no cost to you, reach out to the phone number here or go to the website. You can schedule a time, and there is no time clock on it. 833-856-1382 is the phone number, or Soutas.com. You can go there and schedule your own time. Soutas.com for Soutas Financial. Dale, before we get into, you know what, you've got an estate planning question that we had from somebody who was at the live event. Great question, especially on blended families today. Another couple that was late 50s, mid 50s, they're trying to wonder even if they can retire. Wonderful questions. Before we get there, though, I got to say that inflation and costs, especially in California, still feel like they're really high. And if folks are pinching pennies today, how confident are they that they're going to be able to retire in 5 to 10 years and be able to have enough saved for it? I mean, if we feel tight now, what is it going to feel like 20 years from now?
Well, exactly. I just had that happen recently. Somebody came in. We're just talking, visiting, and you know, the concern was, you know, if we're having to pinch our pennies today, you know, are we really going to be able to retire and keep up with the costs? And I said, that's an excellent question. So let's see. Everybody's different, but what do you need to pay your bills? You know, number one, you know, what do you need to do all the fun things you want to do now that you have all this time if you're not working? What's you know, retirement supposed to look like in your head? What do you really want to do? I'm not a big fan of people saying, yeah, I want to do all these things, and then they retire and they don't do anything just because or just in case, you know, so they don't do all these things. They don't spend their money. Their money grows and grows. And then down the road, they die. The kids get the money and they do all these things that the parents had told me they wanted to do, but they didn't do them. That's living a just because retirement. No, I want you to help me see what it is you want to do, and I'm going to map out as best as possible methods so that you can do those things, maybe even do more of those things and still not run out of money. That's my goal. So I don't want people worrying about, you know, maybe I can't retire now. Maybe you can retire now. Much sooner than what you may have thought of even. So, yeah, I think that the money environment right now is, you know, getting people's attention about, you know, can we keep going? Can we retire? Can we stop working? Or do we need to keep on, you know, making money?
Even if inflation, let's say, cools itself off, there's always some sort of version of it there, whether it's, you know, the cost of cell phone bills or, you know, energy costs or, you know, healthcare needs. You know, sure, we're going to have Medicare eventually once we're in retirement, but there's other copays and other costs. And then do you get the Medicare Advantage and the F and the G and all that kind of stuff? I mean, it seems like even though we feel like we might be pulling back on certain costs in retirement, like you're not having to buy new clothes and stuff like that for work, there's always going to be costs. So how do you, as a financial advisor, take inflation into account?
Good question. Well, first of all, in your goals, you say, I need X amount of dollars per month just to pay my bills. Well, that's going to be the amount we start with, but I'm going to, as a goal, have that increase by at least 3% each year through the female's age 100. Now, then when I plug in what you have in the way of savings and the various income sources in retirement, Social Security, pensions, possibly rental income, whatever, I'm going to build those in and see, will they keep up with, you know, your spending? But on top of that, you still need to do the things you want to do. You need money to play, as I call it. So paycheck to pay the bills, a play check to do the fun things you want to do, to spoil your spouse, and then later on even a care check. But we build inflation into the income plan, number one, to make sure that your goals can be reached and you can continue, you know, to reach. I know a couple, she retired, he's still working, and true, what you just said about she doesn't have to go out and buy all these nice clothes for work. In fact, she's been, you know, giving away clothes because she doesn't need the nicer clothes for what she was doing. But she's got grandkids, and so, you know, that instead of clothes, we're buying, you know,
Yeah.
She says, we're
Buying the
buying
grandkids
toys.
stuff, yeah.
We're having them over. We're doing stuff. We're taking them on trips. Maybe take them up to the trains in Santa Cruz. The, what's they call that?
Grandkid inflation. I like that.
The grandkid. But that's part of the fun. That's part of the play check, Fortunately, her husband's still working, so and plans to for a little while longer. But they're set, they're okay, and she can. That's the beauty of maybe it is that your spouse can retire sooner because you enjoy what you're doing and you want to work a few more years, maybe build up your Social Security higher. In fact, that particular couple, he has no plans of starting Social Security until he reaches 70, so he can maximize it. And then with his business, he wants to taper it down, but he'll probably still get, something out of his business until he totally turns it over, sells it, to the younger ones taking over. So, there's a lot of neat things that people have or that we can help them to plan for in this whole scenario. Everybody's different.
Everybody's different, and that's why we want to come up with a tailored financial plan for you. And to get started with Dale and his team, absolutely no cost to you to come on in, have a conversation. Let's get your planning started. Call 833-856-1382 and schedule your appointment with Dale and his entire team here at Soutas Financial. We'll find out kind of where you're at right now, where you're trying to go, and we'll map out that plan for you. 833-856-1382. More Retire Your Way with Dale Soutas when we get back right after this.
Do you know how you'll generate income from your investments along with your Social Security in retirement? In our opinion, it's never too early to start the income planning process for your future. An income plan can help you work towards creating a steady stream of income to support you throughout your retirement years. Don't leave your financial future to chance. Take control today and start income planning for your retirement. Call the team at Soutas Financial so we can help you design a complimentary written income plan to help you live the retirement you've always wanted. Call 833-856-1382. That's 833-856-1382.
Stock market losses have you worried? Claim your free portfolio risk report and protection review from financial advisor Dale Soutas of Soutas Financial right now. Call 833-856-1382. If the recent market volatility has you worried about your retirement investments, you're not alone. Right now is the time to take action to protect your investments. Surely markets do not always rise, but if you're in your 50s, 60s, or 70s, you don't have the same time to make up for portfolio losses as you did in your 30s and 40s. Claim your portfolio risk review from Soutas Financial today. Call 833-856-1382 or go to Soutas.com. Your portfolio risk review will provide action steps of what you could do to protect your wealth from current market swings. Get your free portfolio risk review right now. Call Dale Soutas of Soutas Financial at 833-856-1382. That's 833-856-1382 or Soutas.com. That's Soutas.com.
Welcome back to Retire Your Way with Dale Soutas of Soutas Financial. This last week, you had a wonderful live event. It was an estate planning event, and lots of things go into estate planning. It's not just, hey, make sure you have a will. Here's why you need a trust. It's about positioning your assets, protecting yourself, healthcare costs, all of those things. And again,
and more,
and sometimes even being a family counselor. You had, you had an interesting couple. What tell us about that?
Yeah, well, actually, only one of them was there. She was there at the event, and it's interesting because they have a blended family. They've got multiple kids, and one child has been away estranged for many years, over 20 years, and then only recently has, reached back out and is part of the family. And, her concern is that he'd like everything to go equally to all the kids. And that particular child is his child, not hers. The others are all theirs. So it's like, well, yeah, but I would really rather, she felt uncomfortable, I could tell. And the point was, as we went along, I'm thinking, I don't know what we're going to say. I mean, yeah, we bring him in, we could talk about it and get his thoughts too. But then as she talked, the real estate's in husband and wife's name, but she mentioned something about having other accounts in her own name. So I said, well, why not just, go ahead and have the real estate go to all 4 or 5 or however many kids you got equally. And then your accounts, you could name your own children as beneficiaries. And I could see the light bulb went off in her head. She, oh, yeah, I could do that, which, makes him happy and it makes her happy. So the counseling, sometimes we do. But being realistic, this isn't the first time. I've had people come in and they don't have a trust. They have a property. Maybe they have multiple properties. Maybe they have some assets that he owns, some assets that she owns separate. And maybe they just have a joint account, to pay the bills. Like I mentioned, I think a week or 2 back, that there's a couple that came in and they have a house that they together owned, but he owns some property separate, she owns some property separate, and so on. So how do we deal with that? And they each have their separate, children. They don't have any children together. They remarried later on down the road. So their children, for the most part, are grown. So how do we, set things up? So sometimes people need 2 trusts, one for his assets, one for her assets, so that they're protected. And in this case, the home that they own jointly could be, half of it could be in each of their own trusts, but really their own other assets could pass on to their children without creating problems and squabbles with the kids. In other words, we put our heads together ahead of time. Let's eliminate the discussions, the lengthy discussions with the attorneys or ones that are going to be, it's like the taxi cab. The bill just keeps going up and up and up, but probably a little higher and faster with an attorney than a cab. But anyway,
Yeah.
If you meant what I knew. So, we have those discussions before you go and set things up, but there are ways to deal with it. And sometimes it's fun because I have to say, okay, now guys, let's put our heads together. What's going to make each of you happy? What's going to work for your, dynamic, your family dynamic? So, it's always fun. But the other part of estate planning isn't just how to make sure things go to your kids or whoever you want, charities and all that. But while you're alive, if something happens, you get dementia, you can't handle your financial affairs anymore, something happens, right? Do you have the proper documents that you're appointing ones that you trust to handle these things for you? If you're traveling or even local and something happens, you're in the hospital and you're unconscious, do you have somebody has the power to talk for you with the medical staff to help do the things that you would want them to do, even pull the plug? Not that that's what we're excited about, but anyway, a healthcare directive is very important on top of your financial power of attorney. The living trust, in my normal language phrase, a trust is just a fancy will, and your real estate needs to be in that. And some assets do not go into a trust. So even understanding the ins and outs of how to use those tools is what we review with people.
Yeah. So there's a phrase that I read before. I've never been able to forget it. Because some children, adult children, are able to help out more with mom and dad's health care or expenses or errands or whatever it might be. But this phrase I've never been able to get rid of from a very nice estate planning attorney I did meet one time, and he didn't charge me for this piece of advice, is that equal is not always fair. And it's worth having a discussion, because you could have 8 kids, you could have 4 kids, you could have 2 kids, and equal might not always feel fair. I mean, for instance, one child who lives out of state receiving the same amount for, the other 2 kids who were able to help out mom and dad a lot more later in life. But maybe it's up to mom and dad to say, hey, I don't want my kids to have any hard feelings or feel like we didn't love them all equally. So at the end, I'm going to give everybody equally. But then the kids end up squabbling about it. So equal, not always being fair. And then you go into the blended family conversation, it gets even harder.
Well, let's throw another twist. Let's say you have multiple kids and you have helped one of them out through the years. You've given them, a sizable chunk of money through the years without really, you loaned it to them, but we know what happens. They don't pay it back. So if you've loaned one of your children, let's say 50 or 100,000 over the years, maybe that one, again, equal at the end may not be equal. You might deduct that from their share, but then be smart about it, because if you don't communicate to everybody, especially the one who had the extra benefit, that could create squabbles down the road. So it might need to be written out, structured in your legal documents. You can actually have things like that listed in your trust. Like I've had ones where they had multiple properties and let's say they have 2 kids. And they say, okay, well, our personal residence, we want to go to, let's say, the daughter. Our rental property, we want that property to go to our son. And, maybe they're the same value, whatever, for whatever reason. You can detail things like that differently. You can have it structured so it's clear. That's the whole purpose of having a properly structured estate plan, is you're not, it's not up to ones to try to figure it out. I mean, some of the examples we gave were like, who was it? Aretha Franklin. She had multiple wills, paper wills scattered all throughout her house, and it confused her. It just created problems.
And I think one of the last ones that they actually used as the final was like crumpled up and found in her couch. So
exactly,
having these things written down, like that's not the way to go for a estate plan.
No. And then Michael Jackson, he had a trust, but he never titled anything in it. So everything stayed out of the trust, stayed in probate, which created problems, squabbles. All the squabbles led to additional costs or eating away at the estate. There are multiple examples given in our presentation at Fresno State on estate planning, but it's just amazing how easy it can be for us. And some people hold off because they think it's expensive. It doesn't have to be. I know attorneys locally who, for roughly $1,500, you got a house, and they can get that set up, the trust with power of attorney for money, healthcare directive.
Oh wow.
And
those
there'll
are some
be
really
maybe
good tools.
additional costs to file. The recording fee, but that's, $100 or whatever it is. I don't know.
And when you say a number like that over there, and so, oh boy. First of all, when I hear $1,500, I don't think expensive. That's not money that I want to spend, but I'll tell you what your family saves in it not having to go through probate, B, having to squabble and fight this out, let's say, in the courts with one another. That's also something you can put into the trust, that if any of your kids decide to contest it, that they're automatically cut out. It's like, hey, if I'm going to go through the work.
Protection. But let's throw that idea back out. Let's say it costs $2,000 to set up a trust, whatever. Okay, $5,000. Not that I would recommend spending all that much if you don't have to. If you have a home and it's worth, say, $400,000 or $500,000, and you die and it goes into probate, the kids are looking at probably $20,000, $30,000 or more in probate and attorney court fees to get it through there. Anybody can walk in and say, your mom and dad owed me money, and now it takes longer than 2 years, costs more. So, it keeps it a private family matter. And, it keeps the squabbling down, eliminates a lot of the problems. So it's easy to get those things set up properly.
That's something that you can do in review with somebody like Dale Soutas, your financial advisor right here in California. If you would like to just have the estate planning conversation, what do I need? What do we don't need? Wills, trust, beneficiaries, all of that. Oh, the financial directives, the medical directives, just to find out where you're at right now. And by the way, this isn't something to wait for just into your, let's say, 70s or 80s. The sooner the better. Sometimes life hits us with surprises, and we want to make sure that we've got these things covered sooner than later. Call the phone number. Let's set up your free portfolio and estate planning conversation. 833-856-1382. That's 833-856-1382. Or if you want to, you can schedule your own time right now at Dale's website at Soutas.com. Soutas.com. More with Dale Soutas after these bottom of the hour messages.
You've heard the phrase, you don't know what you don't know, and we believe it's especially true when it comes to retirement planning. There's a lot of information out there, and it can be overwhelming and confusing. So how do you know what you don't know? Social Security, RMDs, estate planning, investment risk. These are just a few of the many areas that a financial advisor can help you navigate. But what else don't you know when it comes to retirement planning? Are you aware of all of the tax implications of your investments? Do you know how to optimize your Social Security benefits? What about your long-term care and estate planning needs? We believe that by working with a retirement planning advisor, you can uncover potential blind spots in your financial plan and gain a better understanding of your options. Don't let unknown factors potentially derail your retirement. Call Dale Soutas of Soutas Financial to uncover what you may not know about your retirement future and start your complimentary written financial plan. 833-856-1382. That's 833-856-1382. Or you can write Dale at dale@soutas.com. That's SOUTAS.com.
Do you know how much you might be paying in fees within your retirement accounts? Just 1 or 2% in hidden fees can eat into your savings and potentially hinder your ability to achieve your retirement goals. But how do you know if you're currently paying these hidden fees, and how do you find them? Dale Soutas and the team at Soutas Financial can help you find the fees within your investments and explore solutions designed to assist with minimizing them. Take control of your retirement savings so that you can work towards keeping more of your hard-earned money. Call for your very own complimentary Retire Your Way review and fee finder report. Let us help work towards finding, exposing, and helping to eliminate those potential hidden fees for you. Call Dale Soutas and Soutas Financial today for your complimentary fee review. 833-856-1382. That's 833-856-1382.
This is Retire Your Way with Dale Soutas of Soutas Financial right here in California. So glad that Dale is growing, expanding the radio reach. Folks, we are all around the state of California. And while there is Dale and his entire team, there's a lot of folks there helping everything from our tax planning strategies to our Medicare strategies to all of the California care strategies and protecting your assets to make sure that maybe that there is a legacy or that your assets last as long as you need them to, even if you need long-term care solutions. That we get a team of us here. But as we expand all around the state, we want to let you know that while we've got our office and a nice, great location in Fresno, updated as well, bigger, you might want to set up a phone call or even a Zoom before coming all the way in if you're far away. If you're close by, you want to come into the office, let's set up that first appointment in person. Fantastic. Absolutely. That's what we'd like to do. But if you want to talk over the phone, you're comfortable over Zoom, we can do that for you as well. So call, set up your appointment however you would like to. We want to make sure, hey, we're valuing your time and you can value our time. Find out exactly what you want to. And then you go, you know what, this makes a lot of sense. Maybe we'll take a drive down sometime and set up the appointment in person. 833-856-1382 is the phone number to call and schedule an appointment of whatever kind you would like, in person, over the phone, over Zoom. 833-856-1382. If you want to learn more about Dale before coming in as well, you can go to the website, all kinds of tabs and tools there. Soutas.com, SOUTAS.com. And if you want to write Dale directly and bother him there, you can go type this in into your mailbox or whatever you're using, Outlook, Dale@Soutas.com. I don't go right to him.
Yeah. You know, if I may, I'm going to challenge those that listen to our show regularly. If there's a question, concern, or topic that you would like us to explore better or deeper, shoot me a note. You know, we'll be glad to do some homework for you on that. You know, when we do our workshops, people normally want to raise their hand and ask questions. We warn them, if you ask that question, you can ask any question you want, but I might need to ask, 5 or 10 more questions, get your personal info in front of everybody before I can give you the answer that fits your circumstance. So you write your questions down, but likewise, you can write, and maybe you do have a specific question that concerns you on things we've talked about. Fine, you shoot it to me. We can, go back and forth on email if you want. But
or come on in wherever you're at.
or-
But yeah, we'll make it simple for you folks. 833-856-1382 is the phone number to call. Folks are standing by. When I give out that number, you're not interrupting the program. That's going to go over to our call center, and folks will schedule a time for you. There's a lot of things that Dale can juggle, but talking and doing the radio show at the same time, we don't want to do that to him. We got to stay focused on our content.
Yeah, I spit out my gum.
Yeah, exactly. I'm very glad we've had, the market has been interesting this year. Right now, as of this recording, once again, breaking through all-time highs. So growth, I think we've goofed around a little bit about SpaceX and people getting excited about all of that stuff. And I'm like, please, people, don't lose your minds over an IPO. I say look for, ETFs that have groupings of all of that stuff and enjoy the ups and downs, but don't bet all of your retirement on one thing, and don't feel bad. Don't have FOMO over, oh my gosh, everybody else is going to be making this money. They already have billions of dollars, folks. Let them, Dale, I like the way that you do it, Dale. You've got your own rocket space race. You don't spend billions. You probably lost a rocket or two, but you don't spend billions on it.
Yeah, with my little rocket hobby. As a kid, I did the little rockets like most, a lot of people have done. And then years ago, looking for little motors for my kids' little rockets, I came across the big rockets that they do way out middle of nowhere. Mm-hmm. They call it Helm west of Carruthers here in the Central Valley. And yeah, they do get the clearance up to 17,000 feet, and you'll see a variety of rockets. And the biggest I have isn't as big as some others that they bring out. Mine's a 4-inch diameter, 8.5 feet tall. It actually fits in our new office. That's why we moved from Shaw to Palm, because our ceilings are 9 foot here, not 8 at the other. So Jeremy will tell people, yeah, that's the only reason we moved, because Dale could have his right. No, we needed more room to fit more advisors, which brings me to the point. Lately, I know in talking to Katya and Jorge, they're at least interviewing, getting the initial info. We call it a discovery visit. They're gathering the info on, what people want their retirement to be like, and getting some basics on income assets before I sit down with them to, map out we call it a roadmap, map out their retirement income plan. And funny, they keep pointing out one of the things commonly people think is that I have all this money saved up, maybe in a 401k, a 403b, or various retirement savings, and Social Security won't be enough. So I've just draw a little bit from that from month to month, and that should last. And what people don't realize is that if you still have it tied to the stock market, the ups and downs of the market will really determine whether that lump of money will last. And the old 4 or 5% rule, where I could take 4 or 5% out of my retirement money that's on the market, and it should last, the rest of my life, fails more than half the time. So, and why is because the sequence of returns on the market, we don't have that crystal ball to know once you retire, is the market going to go up? Is it going to go down? And I mean, it's not rocket science. Yeah, it's not rocket science. But if the market goes up, then you to get X amount of dollars out of your account, you don't sell as many shares. But when the market drops, you have to sell more of whatever your investment, invested in, to get that same income. So that up and down of the market can wipe you out. We show realistic examples of that very thing at our workshops. And even you don't have to wait for a workshop to see it. You could just set a time and come in. I could show it over Zoom. But we like people to have their income plan one that's reliable, predictable, steady, If you're relying on your money on the market to pull a little bit from month to month to pay the bills and to do all the things you want to do, and the market takes a big drop, I don't want you tightening the belt, so to speak. I don't want you slowing down on the fun things you want to do in retirement because, well, we got to wait for the market to rebound. That's no way to be retired. Have your income steady, predictable. There are ways you can add to your Social Security or pensions if needed and have additional guaranteed lifetime income that can keep up with and or possibly beat inflation, so you can keep on doing and not worrying about your money. That's the focus.
Do you get requests? I mean, so first of all, you can look online. There research on the 4% rule. Again, sometimes we've talked about this for the last couple of years. Even the gentleman who wrote the book on the 4% rule, literally wrote the book on it, has amended that. Except for it works, except for in high inflationary times. And if I ever find the man at one of these financial junkets, I'm going to ask him, were you accounting for non-taxed accounts as well? $1 million at a 4% rule is saying that that could last for 30 years. Is that $1 million straight, or is that $1 million in tax deferred accounts? Because now you're drawing that out and having to pay tax. And what about if you're in high inflation? But do you also, Dale, get phone calls on people asking you like, hey, do you got a retirement income calculator? Or, I did one online. These are the numbers, I think. Well, what kind of requests are you getting?
Yeah, that's a good question. The number one search I think people have through Google is not only about when to start Social Security, so a Social Security calculator, but they also want to know, hey, I've got this much money. Will my money last? Unfortunately, I don't rely on those online calculators so much because everybody's different. Now, what you need to pay your bills, what you need or want to spoil your wife, okay, I'm saying it right for the wives, right? For those 29-year-olds, as I call them. Anyway, so everybody's different. And what you might put in as what you think you need, we have a more extensive list of things that we have people go through so we can clearly see what they're going to need to pay throughout their retirement. What's their paycheck needs, what's their playcheck, their goals. And, I had a couple recently where they have some really good goals. They both professionals. They want to retire down the road. And it was really exciting to show them you could retire even a lot sooner and your money will last, even though I beefed up, increased their goals quite a bit above what they said they needed or wanted. So their money still will last. It was exciting to see their smiles on their face too.
There's a lot of online tools out there, but you want to make sure that you get confirmation on it, that you've got the right inputs. Some of these tools and calculators can be very, very simplified. We want to tailor and make sure that the income plan is going to work for you, that we don't come up short into our later years. And if you would like confirmation on the work that you're doing on your own right now to see if you can be and stay retired, call the phone number. We want to help you retire your way. 833-856-1382 is that phone number. Or if you like, you can schedule your own time at our website, Soutas.com, Soutas.com. More with Dale Soutas right after this.
Will you outlive your money? It's a scary thought, but it's a real concern for many people. In our opinion, that's why it's crucial to have a solid retirement plan in place. We believe that with proper planning, you can work towards making your money last as long as you do. Don't wait until it's too late to start thinking about your financial future. Call Dale Soutas and the team at Soutas Financial today to learn how we can help you create a retirement plan that can potentially help you obtain peace of mind and security for years to come. Don't let the fear of running out of money in retirement keep you up at night. Take control of your financial future today. Start your Retire Your Way review and financial plan by calling 833-856-1382. That's 833-856-1382.
This is Retire Your Way with Dale Soutas of Soutas Financial. We've got one of our great individual client, prospect kind of questions. These are the kind of scenarios that you handle every single day in the offices. In fact, that's right. We've got the 1970s calling. We've got a question from caller, listener, and actually this one was in person. So let's answer this one. You had a couple, I believe they were 58 and 56. First of all, first thing I want to say right there, perfect. That is a great time to reach out to a financial advisor. Let's see if we're positioning ourselves correctly. So right away, huge thumbs up. Tell us a little bit about them. What was on their mind, Dale?
Well, it was fun because she was very confident they could retire and money's not going to be a problem. But he was very much unsure. He was very skeptical, thinking, well, we might have to work, another 10 years. Who knows? Their income's great right now. I mean, they plenty of income. With their two careers. One's in medical, one is in the school system. And so they have not only good incomes, one will have, also guaranteed pension. The other has a pension they could take as income or roll it over and have that money available to use in other ways and structure, however they need. So it was fun because I could see on his face that, yeah, sure, I don't think we can. And we're going to have to keep on saving and we got to pay everything off, all the debt before we can retire. And but I crunched the numbers based on what they really need. And I crunched the numbers based on what they want to do in retirement. And I automatically know how to calculate for way down the road if they need care. So I like we normally do, we build a paycheck to pay the bills with inflation to keep that goal growing through the years to her age 100. We have a paycheck that, for all the fun things I want to do through his age 85, because that's around the average age of somebody needing care. So to keep him out of a nursing home, again, notice I didn't pick on the wife, right? And then, so then the care check kicks in to keep him and then ultimately her out of a nursing home for the rest of, their lives to her age 100. Okay. So not only did I put all the info in on their income and assets, the projected income and pension, Social Security, whatever, I put all their assets in as they have them, invested basically now. And they've done well. They've saved well. They've got kids and any leftovers. Okay, we're going to make sure things are set up properly to go to them. They don't have a trust yet. So, we're coaching them on how to set up their estate plan. So all of this goes into, what we do when we sit a family down. And it was fun because now we've had multiple visits, and again, we don't charge to do that. We could charge to do the plan, but I've chosen we don't need it, we don't want to, we don't do it. We don't charge to work up your retirement income plan. So ended up, I'm showing them, okay, in 6, 7, 8 years, you could retire, your money's going to last. And then I asked the fun question. I said, so how soon would you really like to retire?
Yeah. Either one of them say tomorrow.
Well, sometimes I get that. But so again, they're not quite. So I was pushing it out to her age, I think 65, so they could both be on Medicare and have their health insurance, through Medicare and maybe a supplement, right? Instead of having to buy insurance on their own. But then when they said when he's 62, she'd be 60. Okay. So I plugged that in. I did a separate, I just copied the existing plan and started adjusting it based on those ages and different income amounts and different asset values. And but I beefed up the goals. So even though they said they needed this much to pay the bills, I rounded up generously. Even though they said, well, we want to take, a trip, we want to spend X amount of dollars, having fun, these different categories. And I more than doubled their paycheck. Okay. I kept the care check built in at age 86 and hit the button. It projected out. They're still going to have a few million left over for the kids. several million actually. So I said, yeah, you could easily retire sooner. You don't have to wait. And the real fun of this job of mine is to see people light up when they see, oh, we'll be okay. And to see him finally relax about this idea of retiring, and that he can't, he's seeing, I said, you just digest it, you think about it, but you can retire sooner. And, it's still a few years away. And for those of you out there who are, within 5 years of retiring, don't wait. Get your plan put together. Know how things look. You might have to, make some adjustments to how you have things invested to make sure that money's there down the road. Because even the Baby Boomer Dilemma movie talks about that retirement red zone, the 5 years before and the 5 years after you retire is the time you really don't want to have excessive risk on your investments, because, and I've seen it literally dozens of times over the years where people talk about wanting to retire and they don't change the way they're doing things, and the market takes a big crash, and now one or both are delaying their retirement because their money dropped quite a bit and they don't feel they can, they're going to have enough to keep going. So it's better to have everything reviewed ahead of time, just a checkup, so to speak.
Yeah.
Just,
well, if I can go back with an iron over something real quick, little wrinkle. You said before, one of them was saying how important it was for them to be debt free. Now that makes sense. That tracks for me. You don't want to go into retirement, I guess, if you don't have continued income for the rest of your life. Although both of these have the opportunity for pension plans, or they could take lump sums. What did they mean by being debt free, and why were you saying you're not sure on that for absolutely certain that they need to be debt free? I mean, that kind of makes sense to me, to be debt free.
Well, they, like many I've talked to, they're paying extra on some of their variety of things that they owe money on, off the top of my head, I don't remember exactly.
Credit cards and all that kind of stuff. Absolutely. What else?
Yeah. It could be solar, it could be car loans, it could be, credit cards. But so I noticed they're paying extra on one item, and I encourage them to shift that. In fact, they're paying extra on the one item that has the least amount of cost to them. In other words, it has the lowest interest rate. So I said, why not just shift that over to this that has the highest cost to you, highest interest rate? Once that's paid off, roll that plus what you've been paying on it to the next highest interest rate, snowball it down that way. And they saw within probably 2-3 years, all of that would be gone, except for their mortgage. And I said, well, still, your mortgage may not be paid off in 4 years if you retire at 62, but that's okay. I plugged it in how it would last a little longer, where they had to have that extra to not only pay the mortgage, but if they're both not 65, they have to spend money on individual health insurance. And I magnified that above what it would normally cost even in their plan, to show them you're still not going to run out of money. You can do it. You could be retired sooner, get off to goofing off and doing all the fun things you want to do sooner while your health is better, while you're younger, and you can, instead of delaying. So it's a wonderful thing to be able to help people see that. But no, you don't have to be totally debt-free to retire necessarily. So let's put our heads together to see if that's the case or not. Let us calculate it out.
Yeah, another thing on that is, and this might be a longer conversation. We might have to continue it on next week's program. But two scenarios here. One works in the healthcare industry. One is in the teaching industry. And you can have the opportunity of either getting your pension plan for life and whatever those amounts might be, or taking it as a lump sum. Now, again, right away for our listeners, including myself, you might say, that sounds a little riskier. I mean, with the pension plan, at least I know it'll never run out. But wondering, are there possibly other opportunities where you could also turn it into your own pension-like plan and maybe increase the numbers for yourself? Is that a possibility, Dale?
Well, certainly. In their particular case, ultimately, Social Security and one of the pensions would be more than enough. So how do we have the other pension, instead of taking it as income, roll it over to an individual retirement account, an IRA, and have more control over it, have more liquidity, some more money that you can, take, when and if needed or wanted. The other part would be,
that's a great scenario.
yeah, and then two, the saving, even along the way. In their particular case, they are still contributing into their 401k, 403b, whatever, their retirement accounts. And it didn't make a lot of sense for them to stop doing that because of the high incomes that they have right now. Once they retire at that younger age, and if I have them delay starting Social Security even to 67, they'll have a number of years that their actual income is a lot lower, and we can do some Roth conversions, and maybe a chunk of money, if we feel we need it for income down the road, can be set up to be tax-free lifetime income instead of tax-deferred. So it's interesting. When I say everybody's different, it's because it's true, and everybody's plan can be different, tailored for them.
And you know what's fun for Dale Soutas and the team is that everybody's plan is a little bit like, a puzzle, a game, a game of Monopoly that's fun, where the bank and Boardwalk don't buy up all of the properties here. It's that your game here is that let us put all of these pieces together for you. Your situation is different than everybody else's out there, and now we can tailor a plan, a strategy, a blueprint, however you want to think about it, a foundation for your retirement. Call the phone number so we can help you through that. It's called your free portfolio review and your written financial plan, and Dale will get started with you, literally no cost to you. 833-856-1382 is the phone number to call. Set up your appointment. That's going to be all the time that we have today. For Dale Soutas, I'm Spike. Thank you for listening. And if you want, as we're ending here, you can also go to his website and schedule your own time there anytime you want to at Soutas.com, Soutas.com. Thanks for listening.
Any comments regarding safe and secure investments and/or guaranteed income streams refer only to fixed insurance products overseen by state insurance regulators and not any investment advisory products. Rates and guarantees provided by insurance products and annuities are subject to the financial strength of the issuing insurance company, not guaranteed by any bank or the FDIC. This is not endorsed or affiliated with the Social Security Administration or any U.S. government agency. This is not endorsed or affiliated with any federal Medicare program, nor any U.S. government agency. If applicable, we do not offer every plan available in your area, and contacting us will direct you to a licensed insurance agent. Any information we provide is limited to those plans we do offer in your area. Please contact Medicare.gov or 1-800-MEDICARE to get information on all of your options.
Investment advisory services are offered through Foundations Investment Advisors, LLC, Foundations, an SEC registered investment advisor. The content provided is intended for informational and educational purposes only. The views, statements, and opinions expressed herein are those of the individual speakers and not necessarily those of Foundations and its affiliates. The information contained herein does not constitute an offer to sell any securities or represent an express or implied opinion or endorsement of any specific investment opportunity, offering, or issuer. Any discussion of performance or returns is not indicative of future results. Any discussions of specific strategies are for informational purposes only and have been provided to help determine whether they may be appropriate for your specific situation. If applicable, the primary goal is converting retirement assets into a Roth IRA is to reduce the future tax liability on the distributions you take in retirement or on the distributions of your beneficiaries. Each individual investor's situation is different, and any ideas provided may not be appropriate for your particular circumstances. Comments regarding a particular client's experience may or may not be the same as another client's experience and is not an indication that any client or prospective client will experience the same or a higher level of future success or performance. Foundations only transacts business in those jurisdictions where it's properly registered or is excluded or exempted from registration requirements. Registration as an investment advisor is not an endorsement of the firm by securities regulators and does not mean the advisor has achieved a specific level of skill or ability. Nothing herein constitutes a recommendation that any security, portfolio, or securities or investment strategy is suitable for any specific person. No legal or tax advice is provided. Please review your retirement, tax, and estate legacy planning strategies with a legal tax professional before transacting or implementing any strategies discussed herein. Any comments regarding safe and secure investments and guaranteed income streams refer only to fixed insurance products. They do not in any way refer to investment advisory products. Rates and guarantees provided by insurance products and annuities are subject to the financial strength of the issuing insurance company, not guaranteed by any bank or the FDIC. This is not endorsed or affiliated with the Social Security Administration, any federal Medicare program, nor any U.S. government agency. If applicable, we do not offer every plan available in your area, and contacting us at the phone numbers provided herein will direct you to a licensed insurance agent. Any information we provide is limited to those plans we do offer in your area. Please contact Medicare.gov or 1-800-MEDICARE to get information on all your options. All rights reserved.